Guys, how's it going? I'm Carrie Bentley. I'm super excited for this live stream that we have for you guys. I know a lot of you have been asking for this topic for a while because Demir and I live internationally. Oh, wait 1 second. I'm just gonna mute this tab. There we go. And you're always wondering, like, how the heck did we create this unconventional lifestyle? And in our world, unconventional means freedom, which means travel. It doesn't mean the same thing to everybody, but I wanted to invite, the golden woman of unconventional life here today, Jules Schroeder, the good friend of ours. Hey, Jules.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here. Good to be with you, Kay.
Yeah, definitely. So guys, Jules hosts an extremely popular podcast that you might have watched before called Unconventional Life. It's currently hosted on the Forbes 30 Under 30 channel. And she's also the founder of a community called Unconventional Life, which brings together people who are designing unconventional lives that are just outside the norm, right? Outside the conventional life, and ideally lives that are way better than they expected. And so Jules is a serial female entrepreneur. She's also a tremendous outdoors woman. She's a thought leader in her space. She's also a musician. Right now, her new album is about to be released, so check that out. And on top of it all, her live events, which is what we're here today to talk about, were just ranked a #1 must-attend event by Inc. magazine. So we're really proud to have Jules be one of our closest, most trusted friends because, she leads from mission, right? She has a really powerful mission that she's trying to get out there in the world through these live events, which she hosts all around the world, for entrepreneurs like you and me to really connect and learn how to make that unconventional lifestyle a reality, which is actually how we met Jules in the first place. So Jules, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, Carrie, thanks so much for bringing me back to the community. And there's, been so many of you in this community that I've gotten to talk to firsthand. And I know several of you have come to join us on some of our experience as well. And so I feel like Life Hack Bootcamp, Unconventional Life, we're close cousins in a lot of different ways. And, I love where you started with talking about how the unconventional life looks different for each one of us. And I think the essence of the unconventional life, it doesn't necessarily mean quit your job, go completely remote, live in Colombia, or like me, I just got back from Mexico, I'm heading to Guatemala, then to South Africa. It looks different for every purpose of every person. But I think at the essence of it, it's really finding a life where you feel fulfillment, where you feel purpose, and ultimately just more self-expression and aliveness in your life. Yeah. Whether that's inside your job, whether that's finding more freedom in your relationships, whether that's finding more just enjoyment on the day-to-day. And that, in a lot of ways, is what our community is built on. And, we've been running these events over the last 3 years. We've spent $0 in marketing. We've consistently sold out every event, which is amazing. We've had waitlisted.
Amazing. Holy crap.
And, and I think at the essence of it, it's really, word of mouth and conversations like this where people hear about what we're doing here. And what we're doing is we're bringing together people like, former NBA players to Olympian athletes to, high-level entrepreneurs, to executives, to influencers, to thought leaders, to just everyday people that have a mission that feel like, in the realm of career, I really reliably say I've checked that box. I know how to make money in the world. Check. And I'm actually interested in more. And how do I not only have a great career, but how do I have great relationships? How do I have a great lifestyle? And how do I just have more time, to feel good and to, enjoy the things that I love in life? And so our event really sits at the intersections of those things. And those that come are, so many different backgrounds, 15 different countries at our last one. And we do it differently. Wow. We literally, we were in Nicaragua and we brought, 100 people to these tree houses in Nicaragua, and we'll be in South Africa and Bali and a few other places. But more than anything, it's that conversation. So
it's just insane. And I think just for you guys listening, by the way, make sure you're engaging and commenting. We want to get your voices in the space too and hear, what are your concerns about creating an unconventional life? Have you already done it in some areas, but you're struggling in other areas? Comment with your questions. And if we don't get to them in the live stream, then we'll get to them afterwards too. And one thing I was just going to say too is Jules, when I used to work in my corporate job, my 9 to 5, back when I used to work for Kraft Foods, I genuinely didn't think that everybody deserves to have those things in their life, deserve to have, a career they loved and great health and a great relationship. I hardly knew anybody who had all of those sides of their life figured out. Demir and I are calling it now like the Rubik's Cube of life, how it's three-dimensional. And oftentimes we treat it as two-dimensional, as like just all about career and like hustle and like grinding. And what I've come to realize since then is like we absolutely get to choose this lifestyle for ourselves, and everybody deserves it. It's not something that's reserved for the select few. It's actually becoming a huge worldwide movement that everyone's realizing that it's not about necessarily just career success, it's about life success.
Yes. I like how you touch on this as well, because I think a lot of us can relate to these things like luxuries almost. And I was even talking to someone the other day, and it's like, I feel guilty about the idea of taking a vacation, or guilty that I might leave work an hour early to, go work out at the gym, and that there's some level of responsibility. And I think that's a lot of this conventional wisdom that we've been, inherited over our time together. And there's nothing wrong with these things. Like, it's totally a common human experience. And what I found is that it is lifestyle design in a lot of ways, and that you do have the choice to be able to design it exactly how you want. And so if you're hearing this and the common experience is you feel that there's something that it's like I relate to it. It's like it either keeps you up at night, or it's the thing that, gets you up in the morning, the sense that there's more. That's, I think why a lot of people, how are even in this community to begin with, is that knowing and then actually syncing that up with the action. So.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I love the most about the unconventional life, is that it is a true community. Like the reason why Demir and I keep going to your events and getting so much out of it is because we're just now addicted to that feeling of just being around all these other people. Like, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it right now. Like the energy and the excitement, and everybody's there to truly level up their lives in a huge way, is just so, so exciting. Just backing up really quick. Like, I feel like, for people who know your resume and it's just like super, super impressive, like, were you raised unconventionally? Like, did you have like some kind of unconventional background to make this possible? Or like, what was your background such that this became a reality?
Yeah, to be honest, most of my life, I never really felt like I fit in. And I always felt like the odd one out, the weird one that, despite what all my friends were doing about the things they wanted to pursue, or the jobs they wanted to have, or the things that were important to them, they didn't hold the same importance to me. And even though I still found myself going to college, looking at, traditional jobs, it never really fit for me. And it was actually, I remember being, about to graduate college, and I got, a $60,000 a year job, convinced them before I was graduating, like the full, package, benefits, etc. And I lasted 2 weeks of going and commuting. And they're like, you're not even going to get your first paycheck if you leave now. And I was like, keep it. And I was like, that much of not a fit for me. But I will say that, my life, like, I've also realized that I've had a lot of passions in my life, and I've never felt like I've had the permission. And I just last week was, in New York performing with these Grammy award-winning artists for Grammys week, totally so like dope. Honoring my music passion. Now I'm going to do a collab with this Grammy award-winning artist in India. And it's like, I never gave myself even the permission to experience my different passions. They were so compartmentalized. Like, I was taught, like, if there's extra time, then work on music. If there's extra time, then work out. If there's extra time, then go travel. Only if there is an abundant amount of money, do these things. And it just never made sense to me. And through my own experimentation, a process I call rapid visioning, I just started playing with some of these concepts and actually testing, just because someone else said this to be true, is this true for me? And I think for anyone that's listening to this, anything that we learn and we adapt, just because it works for someone doesn't mean it works for someone else. And that's like the essence of why I love these gatherings, because we bring together people from so many backgrounds and places that when we all sync up, it's like this group field comes together. We learn our experiences, we mastermind, we share, we get out of our silo independent worlds for 5 days, and we really activate each other so that when we go back out, we really up level in our individual missions in the world. And then we come back and do it again, which is why 70% of our people come back event after event after event. It's like these little pivotal moments. And I never had that on my journey growing up. And what I found now is what allows me the permission to actually live and believe stuff like this is possible is having that community that is actually like, you know what, I'm weird too. And you know what, I never fully fit in too. And you know what, just because I'm doing these things and I have crazy ideas, hey, I have crazy ideas as well. And so I think it's really a way for us all to grow and expand and ultimately have the best life and lifestyle that we're after.
Yeah, totally. What I feel when I attend your events, what I feel is not only an up leveling in our business, and really like, growing our professional networks, connections, all that sort of great stuff too, but really a reconnection to what it's like to be a child. And like, and in my version of being a child, for me personally, it's about being myself as fully as I can be. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of us can relate to this feeling of like not really fitting in so well. Maybe you're out with friends and they're talking about stuff that just doesn't really inspire you. And then you bring up a cool idea you had, and everyone just looks at you like you're so weird. I've definitely had a lot of those experiences myself, and it actually resulted in me learning to just shut up and not speak up and just keep my stuff to myself at fear of like, being left out of things. But what I feel at Jules's events is like the complete opposite. It's like give me more Carrie, like pushing my edges in every different area. So I love the way you describe that. And so for Jules, for someone who's not been at one of your events before, I feel like it's really easy to focus on how different everybody is who attends, because everybody is so unique and different. Yeah. But what's the similarities? Like, how can someone know if they're ready to like make the leap and attend one of your events?
Yeah, great question. So usually people feel, and it could be from even watching this, some inkling of a curiosity or something in them that's like, I want more, I want to know. And they're not even sure why, and they're not even sure what it is or what it's about. And usually by the time like they go through the application process and we talk, they're like, I still am not totally sure what I'm doing here. And so if there's any, I call it instinct or gut intuition in some ways, that's usually a good sign. And there doesn't have to be that. But what I do find is that it's people that love to have a ton of fun. So, I mean, literally from the moment we pick you up, like at our last event in Nicaragua, we had everyone come together on a private plane where we landed into these tree houses in this private cove. And it's those that, really appreciate having fun, but also really enjoy kind of taking a step back from the day to day, and someone that really like is always moving. I find those that are always hustling, always moving about, that don't have the space to really pause, that when they come here, and it's a common theme, we're all doers, we're all up to big things in the world, we're all at it, that it's people that actually, to step away from your business and your life and the hustle, that's those that tend to get the most value out of coming to the experience. And I think that we all are all from different places. The common theme is that we care in a lot of ways, that it's a person who really has a desire to create impact. And the impact, like for anyone that's listening to this right now, like your impact can be, small, it can be massive, it can come in all different shapes and sizes, but it's that you have a commitment to growth, like an orientation to growth in your life. Whether that is, personal or professional, and you might be in a bit of a transition. And I think a lot of the people that come, they feel this sense of, I've been doing something for a really long time and I'm just at the cusp of something else and I don't know what's next. And like, you can feel it, but you're not quite sure what it looks like. And if that you're in that place of like, I kind of am in this transition in a few areas and I'm not sure what it looks like, clarity is the number one thing that people get out of the experience. And it's the number one thing that has these amazing business partnerships. People come get, equity raised for capital. We've had romantic connections that have come out of out of being at the events. We've had travel partners. I was literally in Tulum staying with someone that came at his hotel. He has a whole hotel chain throughout Central America. So it's like a variety of things come. But I think those, primarily that are interested in impact in some capacity, and those that really feel like they're on the cusp of something next in their life and they're not sure what, the really great environment to incubate and ultimately to get that clarity in the experience.
Yeah, I love that. I can totally relate to that, having been to now 2 of your events. The first one in a castle in Italy, which was insane. And then the next one, which was like even exponentially better than that one, on a private beach in Nicaragua. And so I can't even imagine what this next one's going to be like in South Africa. I have so many questions for you. Talk to me a little bit about more about the results thing. Like, what have people gotten out of the events? I mean, I know what I've walked away from, and so I want to share that too. But what are some of the big things that are common results for people?
Yeah. Well, I think, when we had the write-up in Inc. magazine about being, the top event for entrepreneurs, even the write-up was funny. It's like a place where literally you come and it's all these masks that we traditionally carry, these identities about who we are, our success accolades, our business. Like you come into our event and like the moment you arrive, those walls come down. And everyone just becomes the same. And my 16-year-old sister was interning and she said to me, she's like, do you know I was talking to this NBA champion for 3 days and I had no idea. She's like, do you know he like is an NBA player? And I was like, yes. And his name is blank. And so it's like an environment like that where just to get in the door, the level of success that people have, it's just a given. So it's not like, who is this person? Is this worth my time? Traditional questions we ask ourselves when we're at networking encounters. And so it's really a place where the human kind of gets to come out first. And then as a result, collectively, the influencers that come, people, can reach almost 2 billion in the realm of social media. So people that are high level influencers. So for those of you that have products that, influencer marketing could benefit from, like One Girl Alone, Ginny, who's speaking in South Africa, her company, she's worked with the BBC, NASDAQ, reaches over 2 billion in her portfolio, like 2 social media posts on a product. And like, you're in a whole new domain. And so
she's amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah. She was ranked the #1 Snapchat influencer in the world and then pivoted to working with Apple and it's just so many other things. And so online social media up leveling in terms of like helping you sell products and services. I've seen multiple businesses get started and actual multiple businesses merging where, they've been in similar industries. And, whether it's like, hey, we're actually lacking in distribution and the other person's like, whoa, I have a big distribution network and we're really needing a product. And then boom, that comes together and it's like quantum, revenue numbers come really organically. Or, simultaneously, we've had people that are big venture capitalists that are looking for their next idea. And we've had, other smaller, earlier stage, projects get started. And then we've had people actually like forego their career and end up working and plugging into someone else's career. And then we've had new businesses get started in the realm of entrepreneurship. So it's a very co-creative, collaborative environment. And we're very action and results focused. And I think that's what gets missing in a lot of places is that if there's a lot of talking or when it is action results focused, you tend to lose the essence of like the why behind why you're even doing those actions or results. Where at this experience, it's like, human first, all the masks come down. Yes, we know you're all successful. That's why you're there. And like, how do you actually connect in a way that is really enjoyable? And on top of that, through actually really enjoying the person you're going to do business with, then create these really profound results that, you don't have to go anywhere else. And I don't know, for me, I got tired of business conferences. And I think that's probably why I created this community where it's like, people are like, what events do you attend a year? And I'm like, I just actually find the best people in all these different circles and just put them in my event. And then I don't have to go anywhere else. So it's a
life
really
life
hacking for the win. I'll just pick where I want to travel in the world and bring my favorite people there.
Oh my God, it's working so well. That's so true because literally the thought of going to a traditional networking event or even like stuff like, these big summits and big networking events that people still go to today. And they just seem so lame to me now. I'm just like, it's in like a lame city with like, I have to stay in like a lame hotel. I'm going to have to eat lame food and meet like mostly boring people. Or I could just go to a place with Jules to a country I've never been to, always wanted to visit, and meet literally my next crew of best friends.
Yeah. Totally. And it's in the relationships. And I find like those have been more tangible results, but the things that people don't expect, it's like the breakthrough in confidence, feeling more self-assurance, actually having peace of mind at night, like feeling way more freedom and self-expression. Like people are like, I haven't danced publicly in like 10 years and I was breaking it down the last night on the dance floor. Like the random things that you don't account, those are actually the things that you're not expecting. And when they happen, you're like, whoa, I won't forget that experience. And that's why, the essence of it. So
totally. Yeah. So really quick, I want to just talk a little bit about what's going down in South Africa. But first, I just want to warn you guys, like Jules said, she sells out and she might already be sold out. So you're going to want to apply right away if you're interested in one of her like very few remaining spots for South Africa. So Jules, tell us a little bit about South Africa. Demir and I are going, we're going to be speaking. We're so excited to be there. What's going to go down in South Africa?
Yeah, so I'm celebrating my 29th birthday. And I decided that I wanted to have the most epic party in a continent that I've never been to. So the last day of the event is actually my 29th birthday. So this is going to be, not only is this going to be an incredible event, it's also going to be a big birthday celebration. So I'm pulling out all the stops. We're going big on this one. We've got 32 people coming. We actually just opened it up like 4 days ago. And so I think we have about 8 spots left. And I'm more interested in finding the right people. So if you're hearing this in any way, shape, or form, just say you're part of the Life Hack community on the application. I'll tell our team to look out for it. It's not like a question of, if, it's really a question of when, but with the right people. And since it is an intimate group, it's like each person is really being vetted in a way where there's just a little bit more intentionality behind it. And so what you'll picture is we're staying at this super luxury safari resort, like in the middle of South Africa, where prime ministers have stayed, the royal family stays. Like our team looked at like 200 safari reserves because I was like, I want the animals. Like I want the zebras. I want the lions. Like if I'm going, like, I don't want to like travel to the reserve. I want to go there. And then I was also like, but I don't want to be around predators and worry for my life if I have to get up in the middle of the night.
Good call. Very good call.
You can keep the lions separate. We could visit the lions, but I don't want to be like living with the lions. So this place that we're staying in has these beautiful individual like tree house, like 5-star cabanas, these wooden pathways that go to all these waterfalls. There's over 63 different species, all these birds. And it's, it's a really beautiful arena. And then on top of all that, we've got amazing people coming like Carrie and Demir that are doing content. That woman, Virginia, that I just mentioned, and a few other, like, it's kind of like the all-star team. I was like, okay, for the 29th birthday, like, let's really bring in, that level. And so amazing content's going to be happening. And we're going to be doing a ton of really interesting excursions, whether that's like going in to see some of these lions, really working a lot with the local community too. So you'll get to really experience Africa. And that's something that's been really important to me, of why we don't do hotels, why we don't hire like generic catering companies. Like I believe when I want to travel somewhere, I really want to get the essence of where I'm going, but I also have a certain caliber of standards of comfort and a certain caliber of like just basic needs met so that I can like show up optimally. So we kind of take like all of that, time that it would spend for you to do this on your own, and we just handle it. It's like handled as soon as you get there, and you literally get to surrender into this 5-day experience. And I call it pattern interrupt methodology, where we're constantly changing the variables between the cuisine you're eating to what you're experiencing, to what you're learning and how you're learning it, so that you're having these micro openings, these little shifts, and that ultimately in the end open up into this like big expression. And so we'll be doing that in various different ways. I don't want to spoil all the surprises, but it's going to be amazing. And it's like South Africa, like 5.0. I have friends that have come several times that are just like, oh my gosh, we can't wait. So.
Well, actually, and I'm speaking of that, like there's literally people that we've been to the last 2. And now that you've hosted many of these events worldwide, I've actually come to learn that there are people who won't miss one of your events. Like they literally sign up for every single one of your events every time, just because they love them so much. And for, like you said before, like it is 5-star treatment. You know what I mean? It's like I am not one for roughing it or glamping or any of that. Like I need certain things, and those are always taken care of, which is part of why the event is so special and different from a lot of other international events that I've been to.
Yeah. So
the way I see it is there's 2 types of people in the world, right? There's people who love international travel and they go like all the time. Like me and Demir, we've been to like 19 countries in the last 2 years alone. And then there's people who love international travel, but they're afraid of taking the leap. So when are people ready? Like, how can they know when like taking a big leap like this is the right choice for them?
Yeah, what an awesome question. Interestingly enough, we get a lot of people that come to our event, though I'm like very much digital nomad, you're a digital nomad. We get a lot of people, like the average age of someone that comes is like 35, even 38 to our events. And usually they're like, this is actually a big trip for me. Like for me to leave my business or my family is like really take something like, and they're
Yeah.
like, I admire your lifestyle, and it takes something. And so what we do, and really a high value I have, is making it really as easy and effortless for you to be a yes, like as possible. Like even when, people look at the cost to come to our experiences, they're like, whoa, if I were to plan that myself, like I would be spending like 2 times the amount, and I'm getting all these speakers and this community and these things. So we really do it in a way that just makes it be an easy yes. And I find that if there's something in you that really knows like something needs to shift and you can't quite put your finger on it, and it might just be like a subtle whisper that you experience sometimes during the day or in the morning or before you go to bed, that this is really like that hint, like this might be the time to come. And we design it too where, yes, 5 days isn't much time. A lot of us stay after, a lot of us just fly in and out. But in a lot of ways, like you're not alone. Not everyone who comes does a lot of big traveling. And we have a really great Facebook community that you get to know ahead of time. So we have, people that come for the first time that are like, I know nobody, and they have the best time ever. And so, all ranges of the spectrum are represented. And I would say that, if it's like that 1-to-see-year trip, like what better way to like do something different than just like going to Mexico or the Bahamas or, some
Amen.
other kind of thing.
Amen. Or just staying in the States, you know what I mean? I mean, I think like for me, like now that I've traveled so much, that international almost excitement you get when you're about to board an international flight has kind of waned. Like now I'm just like, another flight, But it's actually like, I feel like us travelers are constantly chasing that like adrenaline rush, you know what I mean? So it's almost like I'm jealous of people who don't travel that often, because when they do, it's like it's a huge step out of their space of fear and now making international travel part of their comfort zone. I know in the Italy trip we had one of our life hackers come, and she made it a big goal. She already owned a big business, and she was really nervous about leaving her business for 5 days. She had 2 teenage daughters, and she was nervous about like leaving them. And she hadn't traveled recently, so she was nervous about all of these things she was nervous about. And then she just did it. She just said yes. And she ended up having like literally one of the experiences that she's going to remember on her deathbed. And so I really admire that kind of, courage and bravery for somebody. And guess what? Now she travels internationally every year. And so now it's part of her comfort zone, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. And I like that you highlight that. And, we do our best to create the systems and the structure, like all the things like, do I need this requirement? Do I need that requirement? To just have it be so easy for you that if this is like a big deal to internationally travel, we've got you covered. And in so many other ways, we also have Wi-Fi. We have people that check in. You don't have to go completely remote. You don't have to we're not going to be on a deserted island. There are modern conveniences, and it is a really amazing opportunity to just experiment with those things. So I love you highlighting that. And I love that voice in our community. So.
Amen. Well, cool. So, we've covered a lot about, the South Africa events. You guys check out the link. I have the link so you can apply. Make sure you mention that you're from the Life Hack Bootcamp community so Jules' team can expedite your application. She's receiving hundreds of applications right now. So you're going to want to make sure that just put Life Hack Bootcamp in there so that yours gets fast tracked to the top of Jules' list here. Make sure you get one of those spots. But I want to talk a little bit more about, joining the Life Hack, the Unconventional Life family. Like, what does it mean to be part of that tribe? Because it's not just about the event, right? You have a whole community here.
Yeah, I love you highlighting this. So we literally have built, our podcast alone, the Forbes Column alone, we reached like millions of people through various different, countries, through various different corners of the world, various different stages of life. But especially at our events, we have this master Facebook group, and it's really, I find no matter, it's like one thing to come to the event, have the experience, but then to know that you have people when you're back at home, back at the office, back at your job that have a listening and like, it's like a sense of community for you in a way that you don't experience from your friends or maybe your family or your significant other, it becomes a game changer. And what I love most is like, we have people, it's kind of like an instant pass to travel anywhere in the world. Like literally my parents are like, how are you in Mexico? And now you're going to go to Colombia and like here. And it's like the group that you meet, everyone's just so giving and open and generous with themselves and with their experiences. And it feels like a family in the way that it's just like easy, like there's times where you're around people or, you're in business environments and I feel like you have to put on a show sometimes, and it can actually be really exhausting and really draining. And by being a part of this community, it's like, I like to think about it like hair not done, no makeup on, like it's like a totally stress-free environment, but it's like people that are so accountable, doing such big things in the world with so many different places and environments that it's a rare opportunity to see these kinds of people come together in one place. And you have access to all of that by being in our community. And so it's really like the event is just a starting point. It's literally just a launch pad into this whole other world. And I think that's why I was literally talking to someone that came and she's like, our company next year has actually allocated X amount of budget for sending people to the Unconventional Life events. And so it's like, they're like, really, like, we won't miss this because the value of the community itself, even beyond the event, like just the social value of that community is profound, because it's like, whether you need something now or 3 months from now or 6 months or 6 years or even 16 years from now, these are people that often, when they come, they're like, that are going to be in my life, for the rest of my life, not just a one and done, see you later, I barely remembered your name and I'm back on the plane home. It's like really people that, are invested in you to the degree in which you want to invest in them. So
I love that. I mean, and that's part of the reason why Damir and I wanted freedom to begin with, is we wanted the freedom to go and travel and find our tribe. Like, we wanted to be around people who were like us, who inspired us, who pushed our boundaries, who thought creatively about how life could be lived. And what's funny is now Jules has just created this community that you guys can just drop right into and experience as well, which is something that's really powerful. And I think, I value that so highly, because even if you have all the freedom in the world, even if you have all the money in the world, if you don't have the right tribe, as far as I'm concerned, you're not going to be happy. Like it's such an important element that I think gets overlooked a lot.
Totally.
Well, cool. Tell me a little bit more about like the application process. Like, you have people apply, like what will happen once they click on the link?
Yeah. So you'll head over to the link, which is unconventionallifeshow.com/South Africa, which will be in the comments. It's literally like a 5-question thing. So like you guys, we believe in efficiency and we believe in productivity. So it's a very, effective but quick application. And from that point, our team reviews the application, which by, putting Lifehack Bootcamp or Lifehack, in that place, that'll expedite it. Usually it takes about 3 to 4 days. And if, the team really likes what they are hearing, chances are if you're a Lifehack member, the team is just going to expedite you to meet anyways. So you'll get that green light, and then we'll just have a really casual phone conversation. And we'll have a 15-minute chat and just explore, is this a fit? Answer the questions that you have. And ultimately I look for, there's many times where I love someone and I'll be like, hey, not right now. And then they'll come back for the next event. And so I'm more interested in finding that alignment, like the win-win for us both. And so it's very much like an exploratory call. So even if you're like still kind of, I don't know, maybe is this right? Like apply, get on the phone call, like let's figure it out together. And then from that point, if it's a fit for us both and you feel like we have the energy together, then we'll move you on to the next step, which is to register for the experience. So very effortless, easy process. And nonetheless, I always enjoy talking to more people from your community. So
thanks. Good. Well, hope you guys apply. We really would love to see you there. Damir and I don't get to see enough of our tribe members like in person because we're always traveling. So it's always a real big treat to actually meet some of you guys and get to speak with you and talk to you in person. But Jules, like as we wrap up here, tell me a little bit about what you're working on right now. I know you're up to some cool stuff. What other projects are happening?
Yeah, so the music thing is huge right now. So part of what I do as a speaker, as someone that hosts podcasts, is that one of the things that I do is I make up full songs on the fly. I call it channeling or spoken word. Comes through either with my ukulele and, my singing, or it comes through, being a spoken word. And so I've done it, at the United Nations. I just did it at this Grammys Music Impact event. And I was just talking to someone from entrepreneur.com and he's like, you do what? You make it up on the fly? He's like, do you think you could bring your ukulele to our event? And I was like, cool. Yeah. So I'm really loving how to actually combine my talents and my various expressions into different mediums. So speaking, doing the music piece is a big element of it. And then we're also launching a TV show. And we are in the process of signing. I can't, due to our confidentiality at the moment, disclose who it's with, but it's going to be amazing. And it'll be the Unconventional Life TV show. And we're really out to impact like and serve in such a bigger way. And especially, with Inc. really doing the write-up they did about our events this year and just really sharing that piece of it. It's like the sky's the limit of where we're going. And I was talking to this guy today and he's like, we have to get this mainstream. He's like, can we put Pepsi Cola and blah, 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 and all these sponsors? And I'm like, I don't know about Coca-Cola as a sponsor, but I like where you're going with this. And so it's, so we're really finding a way to impact more people on a bigger level. And, for me personally, I'm a huge traveler. I'm up in the mountains right now in Breckenridge, Colorado, about to do 2 days of skiing. I love to just really live a full life in a lot of ways. And I just love, taking time to just like connect with my friends and to do it, in a fun way where ultimately we're having fun together, but we're also working together when we're building each other up. And it's the essence, I think, why I love you guys so much. And I know at this event too, you guys are going to roll out some of the new content that you've been doing behind the scenes with all the lifestyle design optimization. I know you and Demir are doing all this power couple piece as well. And so kind of excited to extract the goods out of you guys. And it's another advantage to our events is I feel like my friends who end up being really great speakers, our community gets to kind of get, first or priority access to some of their gifts before the rest of the world does. So
absolutely. Yeah. Demir and I are we're going hardcore on a bunch of really great lifestyle design stuff. Like you were saying, that's very new, very edgy. We're so excited for it. So yeah, we're going to have to, you and I are going to have to talk more about what's going down in South Africa for that. Okay, awesome guys. Keep asking your questions. I can't see the questions right here because I'm on the live stream. But keep asking your questions, get your application in if you have any questions about that, just comment. We will be here to respond. And anything else you want to add, Jules?
No, if you've listened to this much of this video, chances are that there's something in you that is percolating. Get off the fence, just have a conversation with me. Let's just chat and and explore what's there. Because I find that some of the best conversations are really organic and end up creating the most magic. So.
Yes. Rock on. All right, cool, Jules. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Carrie. Thanks, everyone.